Marcus Aurelius, a wise philosopher from ancient times, once said that the key to shaping our future lies in focusing on what we can control and appreciating what we have. In the past, without the internet and fewer distractions, this was simpler. But in today's world, with so many things screaming for our attention, it seems much harder to steer our own future. That's why we've put together some practical tips to help you take charge of your life, even in this busy, connected world. Let's explore how you can confidently shape your own path without depending on others. This video is more than an hour long and is about how to find peace within yourself by following the ideas of Stoicism. We will talk about a lot of different things that, if you really apply them, will make your life a lot better. To start, I want to say that this video will be useful for your life. For the next few minutes, we'll show you how to be happy through amor fati, which means learning to accept everything that life throws at us. We will look at the dichotomy of life, which is a powerful tool that can help us make choices and find serenity in the middle of chaos. To keep tranquility and clarity in our lives, we will also find anti-Stoic habits that we should avoid. We will also learn how to incorporate the Stoic practice, develop inner strength, and become masters of our own lives. Using Stoicism as our guide, we will learn how to use Marcus Aurelius's reflections to make our days full and useful, while also learning the art of not putting things off. It can be hard to find peace and meaning in today's crazy world, but don't worry, Stoicism has the answer. Learn how to establish a daily habit that will bring you unrivaled balance, growth, and serenity as you explore the wisdom and usefulness of this old theory. As you try to live a better life, Stoicism and people like Epicurus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius can help you. Philosophies like these have been around for a long time and can still help you get stronger, calmer, and happier. Are you ready to change your life? Come on this journey of self-discovery with us as we talk about how to make a morning and evening routine that will help you reach your goals. Every morning, get up with a strong will and a sense of energy. Think about the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These are the moral standards that will help you make brave choices and always look for balance in all parts of your life. Being thankful will help you a lot. Be thankful for all the good things, people, and events that make your life better. You will learn that being grateful makes you happy and frees you from any sense of being unhappy. Look forward to the day with a strong attitude. Face possible problems and wisely prepare to change and grow in the face of hardship as a form of negative thinking. Somber magic will come to life through your work. Write down your thoughts, feelings, and notes in a notebook. This will shine like a lighthouse of wisdom and direction, showing you the way even when things get tough. Get ready to look tough and classy in front of the world. In a world full of distractions, learn how to stay focused and get things done. Always treat others with fairness and kindness, and your heart will be open to a greater knowledge of what it means to be human. When you're stressed, keep your cool and remember that you can only control what you can reach. You will be led by wisdom. When night falls, it's time to rest. Think about what happened during the day, learn from it, and move forward. Accept that you aren't perfect and make a promise to always get better. If you plan for tomorrow and walk a strong and brave road, you will have a future full of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. Use Stoicism as a tool to build your life the way you want it. Make your path to success unique by finding the method that works for your goals, values, and daily obligations. Take Stoicism and make it your own. Keep practicing Stoicism because you love it, and make a plan that you stick to. The way of Stoicism leads to change and growth. Find out how to make Stoicism work in every part of your life. Bring wisdom, courage, fairness, and moderation into your job, relationships, and personal projects. In a world full of change and uncertainty, Stoicism will help you stay balanced, strong, and at peace with yourself. Accept that your life has a reason and is clear. Follow the stern road by being strong and sure of what you want to do. Your wise friend will be with you most of the time, and every day will be a chance to learn and grow. In your search for a full and worthwhile life, may clarity and serenity always be with you. You can wake up with a heart full of joy and plenty if you practice thanks. The 4 cardinal values will guide you. Focus on all the good things in your life that make it better. You will learn that respect and thanks can get rid of any feeling of unhappiness or a strong wish. When you are truly thankful, you will start the day feeling full and happy, and you will be able to focus on what matters most. Develop the habit of being thankful for all the good things in your life, and always say thank you for things that have helped you move forward. They should all be included in your thanks. Visualizing bad things will help you get ready for the day. When you think about the problems and issues that might come up, don't worry. You're ready to face them with wisdom, courage, fairness, and moderation. By thinking about these situations and what might happen, you will build up a quiet strength that will help you change and grow when things go wrong. With this practice, you'll be able to handle the unknowns of the day without getting upset when things go wrong. Journal, very important. It's now time to write down your thoughts and wisdom. Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius found that writing in a notebook was very helpful. Set aside a few minutes every morning to write down your thoughts, feelings, and notes. You'll make a lighthouse of wisdom and love that will help you through the trials of modern life if you do this. Everyday life is always changing, and there may be times when we have to show how determined we are. Don't worry though, Stoicism can help. By using a set of Stoic techniques, you can keep your balance, build your resolve, and start your life's journey with grace and strength. Remember that you have wisdom within you when you're under stress. Use your mind and time to get away from things. Remember to focus on the things you can control and let go of the things you can't. You will be able to handle stress with calm, strength, and wisdom if you do this. The most important thing in life is to categorize and separate things so that you can see what is outside of your control and what is within your control. Where can I find good and bad? Not outside of what you can't control, but inside of you and the choices you make. Keep Epictetus's words in mind as you work to be grateful and strong. Stoicism will show you the way with its timeless wisdom. Know that every day is a chance to learn, grow, and get better when you wake up. On the stern road to a full and worthwhile life, you should live your life with focus and purpose. Turn things that are distracting you into chances to get things done. Today's fast-paced life is full of things that can confuse you, but as a strong Stoic, you work on the virtue of temperance by being self-disciplined and avoiding excess. If these things happen, don't fight them. Instead, gently bring your mind back to the job at hand. You will feel calmer inside and be able to use your mind's power to reach your goals. Show the Stoic values of justice, wisdom, and kindness when you're with other people. Every interaction gives you the chance to leave a good image that lasts. Think about how what you say and do affects the people around you. Learn, grow, and gain a deeper understanding of what it's like to be human with each encounter. Today, I will have to deal with rudeness, disrespect, disloyalty, anger, and greed. This is all because the criminal doesn't know what is right or wrong. But for me, I've known for a long time what good is and how noble it is, what evil is and how small it is, and what the criminal, who is my brother, is. Not in the sense of a physical being, but as a human being with some divine power. So, none of this can hurt me because I can't be a part of anything humiliating. My brother and I were both born to work together, just like a man's two hands, feet, eyes, or upper and lower rows of teeth. I can't be mad or upset with him either. It goes against the laws of nature for people to block each other, and anger or dislike is a type of blocking. Marcus Aurelius shows us how to deal with problems and grow stronger. In life, we face challenges we didn't expect, especially when things are going badly. These challenges can either make us stronger or break us. See these difficulties as chances for growth, brave Stoics. Face problems with ease by developing the guts and wisdom to do so. When you do negative thinking, trust the inner strength you've built up by following the calm way. You will learn from your mistakes and use them as steps toward personal growth and happiness. If you do this, get ready for a night full of wisdom and thought. Now that the sun is going down and the day is ending, look inside yourself. Think about what happened during the day and write down any problems, choices, or lessons you learned. Seneca once said, "I will constantly keep watch over myself, and even more useful, I will review each day, because this is what makes us evil." None of us look back on our own lives. We only reflect on what we are about to do. Forgive yourself, and then work on getting better. Learn to forgive yourself with kindness and understanding. Personal growth is a process that never ends. Take responsibility for your mistakes and work to get better. As you continue to grow on your silent road, work on finding inner peace and accepting yourself. Using the wisdom you gained throughout the day, set goals for the new dawn. Make plans for the next day and make sure that you use calm traits in your choices, actions, and encounters. You will set an example for a peaceful and meaningful life this way. Stay true to the principles of Stoicism and spend the evening relaxing before going to sleep. Do things to help you relax, like deep breathing or quiet thought. Relax your body and mind to get rid of the stress of the day. After a good night's sleep, you'll be ready to start each new day as a chance to learn and grow. The world can give us both the best and the worst things. A lot of the time we find health, happiness, love, and joy. On the other hand, we often experience sorrow, pain, death, sickness, and bad luck. Fair or unfavorable, life seems to flow like a river that we can't control and must often accept. Epicurus stated, "Don't fight the strings of fate, embrace them, for it is only in accepting them that you find inner peace." Accepting or embracing one's own fate is called amor fati in the language of Stoicism. This means seeing your life, with all of its ups and downs, as the best gift you could have gotten. It sounds easy to say, but it's not possible to do. What could make us love pain? How can we show thanks for things like the death of a loved one? How can we see beauty in pain? Some people might have thought the Stoics were crazy when they came up with the idea of amor fati, but that couldn't be further from the truth. They were very sure of what they were saying. Why? Because the best way to become a good person and be truly happy, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epicurus, was to love your life to the fullest, with all of its good and bad times. Marcus Aurelius said, "Love your fate, no matter what form it takes, because only through the acceptance of each moment can you find true serenity." Seneca added, "Amor fati is to love the totality of your existence, including your mistakes and failures, as they are opportunities to learn and grow in wisdom." But difficult doesn't mean impossible. It just means a lot of work is needed. Remember that the most important things are the ones that are hard to get. We should give amor fati our all because it has a lot to do with our happiness. I'll try to help you follow the concept of amor fati in this video so that you can be better and happy. I'm going to split the video in two for this. First, I'll try to explain what a Stoic's fate means and why you should love them. After that, I'll give you 5 tips on how to follow this philosophy and stay true to it. Before we start, I'd appreciate it if you shared this video because it helps more people understand this philosophy. Turn on the bell and subscribe if you don't want to miss any movies. Stoics in the past thought that there was no such thing as chance. They thought that the gods made the world's necessary and logical rules, which made everything work. In this way, they saw the world as a whole, with all of its parts working together perfectly. For this reason, everything that happened in the world had a reason, an explanation, or a role. Everything was governed by a logical rule. Stoics believe that the same logical rule that controls the world is also inside each person, in their mind. This helps the person understand what is sensible and good. So, people who follow what their morality tells them are reasonable and good, while people who go against the law of the world, which is in their mind, are illogical and bad. We can call the way things turned out for each of us by the universe fate. We each have a future that fits into the UN universe as a whole. Because of this, everything that happens to us, good or bad, is important and has a reason, even if we can't understand or control it. Even if we can't always see it, everything makes sense and has a purpose. Because of this, even when things are at their worst, we should try to see beyond ourselves. For us, living in serenity means accepting the way things are. It means to love one's future in that sense. But it's very important to know the difference between agreeing to something and quitting. Resignation is a bad thing, because it means we won't do anything about what makes us unhappy. On the other hand, acceptance is a good thing. It lets us see what is and decide what to do based on what happens. A Stoic doesn't want to give up and instead looks for ways to accept things as they are. And the stern duality of control is at the heart of acceptance. The things that happen in the world, like good health or bad health, disasters or miracles, life or death, are mostly out of our control. These things can't be changed, so they shouldn't stir up our hearts. But what we can control is how we feel about what happens and how strong our will is. Epictetus said it best: "The will can control itself, but nothing else can." We have a lot of power over what we do and how we respond to the things that happen to us and the things that we want. We can either accept and face our future as the road that has been set out for us and where we must find happiness, or we can run away from it. This is what Stoic freedom means: the choice to either accept our future and match our will with virtue and good, or to reject our reality and seek vice and evil. Epictetus said, "The will is the source of all good and evil." Marcus Aurelius agreed, saying, "Things that are truly good, like virtue and justice, are within man's power and given by the gods, so he can avoid them if he so desires." It is always up to us to decide whether to seek good or bad in any given circumstances. We can either give up, become illogical, stop taking care of ourselves, and get mad at everything and everyone when we are sick, or we can fight to get better and live the best life possible, even when we are sick. The 4 Stoic qualities can be mastered if we seek virtue and good and follow our feelings. This means that everything that happens in our life, good or bad, should make us better and add to our lives. We will be happy when things go well, but we need to remember that they won't last forever. Bad times will try us and make us stronger. They will also make us better people, even though they are very hard. Finally, keep in mind that these bad times will pass too, and they are just as important, if not more so, than the good times. So, in order to practice amor fati, we also need to be brave. We have to be strong to deal with all the storms that come our way. In this way, someone who practices amor fati will also be able to control the virtues of wisdom and justice. They will learn to appreciate each moment for what it is worth, and most importantly, they will understand the universal law that controls everything. This law makes our unique future the best gift we can receive on our path to a full life and true happiness. As you saw in the theory of amor fati, it puts the 4 Stoic principles in action and asks us to be our best selves. It entails accepting our own future and realizing that our life is the best and most beautiful chance we have to pursue virtue and a full life. Don't you think that a life without struggle and the search for happiness would not be worth living? Also, isn't it true that we can't be happy without making sacrifices and give up without accepting what we've been given? To achieve what reason tells us, we must love our own future and match our will. This is the patient way to get to real, complete happiness. I'd like to share some words from the past that talk about amor fati. Seneca says, "Fate leads those who accept it and drags those who refuse to acknowledge it." He also says that no one is less lucky than the person who is forgotten by hardship because he doesn't get the chance to be tried. Marcus Aurelius says, "It is human to love and seek what fate has given and prepared for him." Epictetus could add, "Do not try to make things happen the way you want them to. If you don't wish for things to happen the way they do, your life will go well." What do you believe about the Stoic idea of amor fati? Are you on board with your future? Is there something going on in your life that you can't accept? Is there one that you accepted just the way it happened? I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. A person who knows the chains that bind him will be free because he will be aware that he can break them. Part 2. Our world moves quickly and is always changing. Because of this, we often let bad habits take over, which are not only useless but also harmful. The Stoics say that we should focus on what we can control and free ourselves from the chains of unchecked feelings, lust, and impulsive thoughts. Today, I'm going to talk about 6 bad habits I used to have that a lot of people have these days. It's possible for these habits to get in the way of our mental peace, personal growth, and living a good life. I want you to be honest with yourself and look at yourself from a third-person point of view before we go over these things. This will help you figure out which of these 6 bad habits is hurting you, and then you can face them head-on. The first behavior is putting off plans. We all tend to pick up this sneaky habit, even though it might seem harmless. However, it has very bad effects. Putting off something that should or could be done now is called procrastination. While we keep thinking about what needs to be done, we don't do it. This wastes time and energy. Stoicism tells us that putting things off can make us not meet our personal and professional obligations, hurt the quality of our work, hurt our image, and make people not trust us. Stoics believed that putting things off was one of the worst things someone could do to themselves because they valued honesty and doing what they were supposed to do. Putting things off causes more stress and worry as dates get closer and tasks pile up. Our mental and physical health are both affected by this ongoing stress, which keeps us from having a clear mind and a peaceful mind. Let's say you need to finish an important job by a certain date. You put off and leave it until the last minute, rather than breaking the work up into doable chunks and working on it steadily. The worry and overload are getting worse, and you're having a hard time meeting the goal. Doing the work and planning it is a favor you do for yourself. It makes more sense to spread out the work over several days than to do it all at once. Putting off responsibilities is a bad habit that goes against the principles of Stoicism. It wastes time, leaves obligations unmet, and causes more stress and worry. We can fight it by making plans, being self-disciplined, and keeping our eyes on our beliefs and duties. To prevent this, I suggest that you never make a promise when you're feeling very emotional, especially when you're happy. The reason for this is that decisions are often made based on how someone feels at the time. Before making a decision, think about it carefully when you're by yourself. Avoid making hasty choices and don't promise anything when you're happy. The second bad habit is lying. Many people in today's society lie all the time, but it's a very bad habit. They lie because they are afraid of being caught, and they will eventually be caught. Lies hurt the truth and your honor. The Stoics thought that being honest and telling the truth were important parts of living a good life. Because when we lie, we move away from these values and weaken our character. Also, lying hurts relationships and makes people lose trust in each other. People can lose trust in us when we lie. It's hard to get back the trust that was lost after a lie is found out. The Stoics believed that relationships should be based on trust and respect for each other. When we lie, we create a different world that can trap us in a maze of lies, which can lead to a circle of lies that gets more complicated and tiring over time. This causes stress and worry that aren't needed. For instance, let's say you see sensationalist news on social media and share it right away without checking it out or thinking about where it came from. It turns out that the news wasn't true after all. You feel lied to and ashamed. Sharing the news also spread false information, which could have had a bad effect on other people's thoughts and actions. Believing everything we hear is a bad habit that stops us from thinking critically and leaves us open to being manipulated and swayed in the wrong direction. It's important to check facts, learn how to compare and contrast sources, and most importantly, make our own decisions. The modern world and other people will use and influence someone who doesn't have their own standards or the power to use their own conclusions. The fourth trait is not being able to talk to other people. Communication skills are important for both personal and business ties. We don't seem to value good language and conversation skills as much as we used to. People today have bad talks because they aren't interested in each other and don't really listen to what the other person is saying. Misunderstandings and fights can happen when people can't talk to each other well. The Stoics know how important it is for people to get along and work together. These ideas can be put at risk by bad communication. We will have trouble sharing our wants and feelings if we don't know how to talk to each other well. This could make people unhappy, angry, and frustrated. Being honest and expressing yourself are important to Stoics, and they think these things are important for good talks. We naturally want to connect with others and talk to them clearly. People should trade valuable things with each other during conversations. Talking to someone should be useful and not pointless. Not knowing how to talk to people is a bad habit that can cause problems, confusion, and trouble sharing our wants and feelings. I think that reading or watching useful content will help you improve your language and speaking skills. One thing that helped me a lot was practicing active listening. Spend less time thinking about what you'll say next, and more time paying attention to what the other person is saying. This will make the other person feel important, and the conversation will run better. If you keep practicing, you'll be able to communicate perfectly. The fifth practice is always comparing yourself to other people. I know you're very competitive, even if you don't mean to be. You always want to be better than other people, but this can hurt your self-esteem and make you unhappy with your life. Comparing ourselves to others all the time can make us unhappy and dissatisfied because there is always someone who seems to have more success, money, or ability than us. Instead of always comparing ourselves to others, the Stoics teach us to work on our own growth and be grateful for what we have. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we might try to change who we are to fit standards or ideals, which can make us lose who we are. Keep in mind that this won't help you in the long run because you will still be yourself after the fact. The Stoics say that we should be honest with ourselves and live by our own rules and ideals. Imagine that you constantly compare yourself to your co-workers and feel like you're not good enough. You always feel like you need to work harder to match or beat them. This ongoing stress can make you tired, unhappy, and dissatisfied, which can pull you away from your real self. Comparison with other people all the time is a bad habit that takes you away from your own identity and sincerity. When you understand that you don't need to always watch other people because you have what you need at home, this changes. You can always look elsewhere if you can't find what you need at home. Know that it's pointless to compare because you can't have everything. When your main goal is to get better than you were yesterday and fight with yourself, you'll be much happy. The sixth trait is looking for blame in other people or things. People often look outside of themselves for reasons for the bad things that happen in their lives instead of taking responsibility for them. This way of thinking takes away our freedom and control, because when we blame others for our problems, we give up control over our lives. The Stoics stress how important it is to know what we can control and what we can't. Putting the blame on others takes us away from this understanding. This habit can make us feel like victims and make us emotionally dependent on other people, making us very dependent on them for our security. We miss out on the chance to learn from our mistakes and grow as people when we look for someone else to blame for our problems. We don't take blame for this habit. For the Stoics, it's important to know and accept what we can control and to take responsibility for it. They say not to blame others for our problems. In order to live a life of virtue, wisdom, and inner tranquility, we must be aware of these habits and work to change them. Please think about these habits in your own life and be very honest with yourself. Bear in mind that the only way to break free from ties is for the person to become aware of them. You are the one who makes your own way from here on out. Moral development doesn't mean getting rid of all old rules. Instead, it means looking at them carefully to see which ones should stay, which ones should go, and which new rules should be added to our moral code. The third chapter. I understand forgiveness and give it. I treat other people the way I want to be treated. I don't want other people's things, and am very grateful for the good things in my life. In our minds, we suffer more than in real life. In the year 300 BCE, Zeno was a very rich trader who lived in the city of Cyprus. His ship sank while going from Phoenicia to Pius, taking all of its goods with it. Because of this one event, which Zeno had no control over, this man who used to be very rich became very poor very quickly. Think about being Zeno. The job you've done all your life could be lost because of natural disasters. How would you feel? What would be the right thing to do? Are you going to be mad? Would you think that life lied to you? This is how most of us would respond, but not Zeno, who is known as the father of Stoicism. Little changes can have big effects, and even small changes in how you think can lead to bigger changes. Stoicism is also based on the idea that things should be accepted and not cared about. Zeno made and taught Stoicism after reading the works of Socrates and other great thinkers. Zeno said that even though we have little control over what happens to us, we can control how it makes us feel. We should make good use of this control. Zeno chose not to complain. Instead, he focused on staying calm and neutral in the face of his problem. These days, people unintentionally think of Stoics as stable people who don't usually have big emotional reactions like fits of anger or worry. Stoicism, on the other hand, was not just a way of talking about people who don't feel anything. The idea of Stoicism helped people see, explain, and comprehend the world. A way of life that has been around for hundreds of years. Stoicism is a way of thinking that can be used today just like it was used thousands of years ago, and it has the same positive effects. Through Stoicism, we can work through bad feelings and events and turn them into thoughts that give us a new way of seeing the world. Perception is very important, and everyone has a unique view of the world because of their unique experiences. People knew a lot about the Stoics' general philosophy because they met, talked, and taught philosophy in public places. They thought that the Stoic way of life could help everyone, from slaves to emperors. Epictetus, a freed slave, Seneca, a famous politician, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the strongest men who ever lived, are some of the most famous Stoics in the world. Early Stoics lived by what they taught. staying away from all kinds of segregation and leading the fight against unfair treatment. They even came up with the word cosmopolitan, which means world citizen. At the time that Stoicism was created, women were not allowed to study philosophy full-time, but the Stoics greatly disagreed with this. Epictetus's master, Malone Rufo, once, "Not only do men possess a natural desire and inclination toward virtue, but women do too. Women take pleasure in noble and just actions no less than men, and they reject the opposite of these actions." Then why do so many people choose to live a Stoic life? Our feelings often get in the way when things go wrong in a world full of surprises. We're not really sad because bad things happen to us. We're sad because bad things happen out of the blue. It's good to have rain. It helps the plants grow, gives water to the animals, and keeps things cool and wet. But it's never a good time when we're caught in the rain without an umbrella. There's no reason not to cry when it rains, because we've learned to expect it to rain, even when things are bad. It's going to happen. We have no control over the weather. The rain stops in the end, and the sun comes back out. In the same way, Stoicism tells us to expect all the bad things that happen to happen. One of the tasks that Stoics do is voluntary pain, which is meant to make people feel more grateful. Things like sleeping on the kitchen floor, taking cold showers instead of hot ones, and eating nothing but potatoes for a few days. If you have the right attitude, this exercise will help you see that no matter how hard things get, you'll get through them and maybe even do better. In a roundabout way, being able to handle these unpleasant events trains our thoughts to deal with future bad luck. It's more important than ever to follow Stoic principles in a world where ads constantly tell us that we can only be happy if we look a certain way or have a certain amount of money. We didn't know much about the world when we were born. As kids, we learn things at home, at school, and by seeing the world around us. What's wrong is that these three sources of information often teach us different things. We need to take all of this information to heart. If we do that, we might set impossible goals for our lives, which will leave us upset and unhappy in the end. You shouldn't live like that. We need to work on getting better. If we only do things for ourselves, we won't be disappointed. Adding any outside hope or extra connection to what we do almost always makes us fail. Most of the time, we try to fill this gap with things outside of ourselves, like buying a fancy car or a house. We do all of these things sometimes because they are useful to other people, not because they are useful to ourselves. Stoicism, on the other hand, says that we should judge the success of our work by how hard we work at it, not by how our plans for the future turn out. We should believe in the process. When we live with less, we can break free from the social chains we're tied to. This is how the Stoics say we can solve our problems and be happy. To improve our self-esteem, we need to change how we think about what is valuable and focus on things we can control. We can stop worrying about things we can't control and, in general, live better and more fulfilling lives. Stoicism helps us get through storms, both past and present, and find calmer, more peaceful water. After all, Stoicism grew in different times, but its ideas have stood the test of time for hundreds of years. Its lessons are still very important today because they give us power and direction to deal with the problems of modern life. Philosophy from the past also teaches us to be emotionally strong and accepting. Philosophers teach us how to find peace and serenity despite difficult circumstances. Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius thought that the way to true happiness wasn't to avoid problems, but to work on being good and controlling yourself, even when things were bad. They stress how important it is to know the difference between things we can control, like our emotions, decisions, and beliefs, and things we can't, like outside events and other people's behavior. We can find true peace within ourselves if we only think about the things we can control and accept the things we can't. People have always been looking for reason and meaning. We learn how to find a real path that fits with our inner values by reading the works of existentialist thinkers. Stoicism also tells us how important it is to have friends and be part of a group. Thinking about people like Aristotle helps us make real links and keep them alive, which makes our trip more meaningful. The Stoics are interested in building personal virtue and self-mastery, but they don't believe in being alone or not caring about other people. Instead, the Stoics think that community life and ties with other people are important parts of being good and happy. Cicero, for example, wrote a lot about friendship and how important it is to build real, honest ties. He said that friendship was one of the most valuable things in life, and that we should pick people who have the same goals and ideals as us. He also stressed how important it is to help others and make a good difference in the world. So, both Stoicism and other thought systems understand how important it is to build healthy communities and relationships with other people in order to live a full and worthwhile life. It's up to us to make real relationships with other people that help our moral and spiritual growth and make our personal journey more meaningful. When you use the old wisdom of philosophy, you'll be ready for any task and be able to live a strong, honest, and meaningful life. Fourth part. Join us on this quest for the best and the highest. Share and begin the path to becoming truly powerful. I wanted to talk to you about something that all of us have to deal with. Most of us don't want to go to work or school when we wake up in the morning. People either spend their days hoping they could leave work, go home, and relax until the next day, or they think about the weekend all the time and can't wait for it to arrive. Many people hate Mondays because they know they have a busy week ahead of them with work and other obligations. Many people spend their days totally uninspired and unwilling to do anything because they don't like how they feel. People who act in this way can become depressed or very unhappy as a result. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you find it difficult to get out of bed at dawn, remember this. I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain about if I'm going to do what I was born for? Or was I born to curl up under the covers and keep warm?" After this thought, Marcus Aurelius talks to himself and replies, "It's more comfortable in bed than working. So, you were born to feel comfortable. Don't you see how the plants, birds, ants, spiders, and bees perform their individual tasks, putting the world in order in the best possible way, and you're not willing to do what is due of you as a human being? We do need to sleep every so often, but nature put a limit on it, just like it did with food and water, and you're done. We don't love ourselves enough," he says, "because we would love our nature and what it asks of us if we did. People who are good at what they do work hard at it. They forget to wash or eat sometimes. They value their own nature more than the artist values their work. The dancer values their art, and the miser values money. They would rather not eat or sleep when they are really into what they are doing than give up the practices of their arts." Marcus Aurelius doesn't just mean official work when he talks about work. He also means the things that people have to do in their daily lives. This thought helps us take responsibility for the things we do and the time we spend on them. Imagine if he hadn't done what he did. It's unlikely that he would be named one of the 5 great Roman rulers. Because he was the emperor, he had to run the government and couldn't leave his work undone because everyone in the Roman Empire relied on him. We can also use this in our daily lives. Plants don't move around and don't have duties, but neither did we. We should act like people because we are people. Don't let the desire for short-term pleasure cloud your judgment. Being sure that you did the right thing is the best feeling in the world. There's nothing better than being happy about a job well done. Now is the time to get up and get to work. Because you don't know how much time you have left, don't put off your work. Now is the time. Marcus Aurelius wrote this down in his notebook so that he would remember it every day. The same thing should be done by us. Remember these words by Marcus Aurelius when you don't want to get up or do your work in the morning, or when you can't stop thinking about the weekend or how much you hate Monday. Do you know how to stop thinking this way? I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. As a way to start the day, I leave you with 10 quotes from great Stoics from the past. 1. Giving up thinking about things we can't change is the only way to be happy. 2. Remember that your inner strength is more important than anything else in the world when you wake up. 3. There are things that bother us, but it's how we see them that does. 4. Someone else's happiness is not my sadness. 5. Freedom is the key to happiness. Being brave is the key to freedom. 6. Don't expect things to go the way you want them to. Just accept them as they are. That way, you can live in peace. 7. What bothers people is not the things themselves, but how they think about them. 8. Life is short, and right now is the only time that makes sense to try to be happy. 9. What counts is how you handle what happens to you, not what happens to you. 10. Get up with purpose and go to bed with happiness. These words can help you remember the principles of Stoicism and guide how you think and act throughout the day. Procrastination is probably a major issue in your life, which is why you're watching this video. In my case, most of my problems came from putting things off. A lot of problems start to happen when you don't do what you should and keep putting things off. As you rise, your output drops and worry starts to show up in your life. You avoid your duties, and the worst part is that you always feel like you're not doing what you should. The Stoics were very worried about putting things off. Seneca and Marcus Aurelius are two examples of Stoic thinkers who had a lot of responsibilities and couldn't put things off. It's not easy, because we'd rather get what we want right away than put in some work. Developing discipline and getting past putting things off work hand in hand. You're watching this video because you want to change, even though it won't be easy. You want to get things done and take charge of your thoughts and behaviors. Stop putting things off. You'll be happy because you'll be at peace with yourself when you do the right thing. It's hard to believe that Marcus Aurelius had the same number of hours in a day as we do his work and take care of his duties. His empire was the biggest and strongest in ancient times. How did he find time to be ruler, write, be a philosopher, take care of his wife, make laws, go to trials, lead armies, and help the Roman people get over a terrible plague? He did all of this while being fair and not giving in to the same bad habits or desires that other kings did. Marcus Aurelius's ability to beat laziness and avoid delay was largely due to his consistent routine and the habits he formed in his life. Having a schedule is the best way to stop putting things off. Marcus Aurelius made all of his duties an important part of his life, like how we need to eat, wash, and sleep. Taking care of these duties became so important to him that he couldn't live without doing them all. Stoics knew that what we do over and over again makes us who we are. So, being excellent is not something you do, it's something you do all the time. For Marcus Aurelius, the day began early in the morning. He knew when he woke up that he was rising to do the work of a person. He couldn't stay in bed for long. He started the day by writing in his notebook. He set aside a few minutes to organize his thoughts and help him remember what was important. After that, he got ready to deal with his duties and the people around him. He would tell himself, "The people you meet today will be rude and unappreciative. They will try to annoy and anger you." Marcus Aurelius knew that these people couldn't affect his happiness or judgment. It was clear to him that he had to do what he thought was right. After this, Marcus Aurelius started on his most important tasks, because he wanted to be ready to work and have had time to rest. He did what he had to do, like a Roman, and as if it were the most important thing in the world, as he had said in his thoughts. His routine shows that he doesn't have time to put things off. If you want to stop putting things off like Marcus Aurelius did, you might be thinking what tricks you can use to get ready mentally. I'll now talk about 7 tricks. Chapter 5. That helped me stay away from putting things off. They will be split into 2 parts. The first will be about getting our minds ready to avoid putting things off, and the second will be about what we can do to stop putting things off. Part 1. Get your mind ready. Shift your attention. It's not a first world problem to put things off. This is why we put things off. We can afford to. When doing our jobs, we need to feel more of a sense of urgency. We end up doing what we need to do on the last day, with little time left to meet the target, because we put it off and set a deadline. It seems that when the last day comes around, we stop being lazy and do what we need to do. This takes place because of a sense of haste. Setting our own due dates for tasks would make us more motivated to get them done and help us stop putting them off. We could even ask a family member or friend to help us meet this goal by making sure we know what will happen if we don't. 2. Don't let small distractions get in the way. The things we do instead of what we should be doing are usually small distractions when we put things off. In other words, we spend time doing things that don't help us. We should understand that this distraction not only doesn't help us, but we also don't fully enjoy it, because we know we should be doing something else. Because of this, not only does it not help us, we also don't really enjoy that diversion. So, we should work first and then have fun. Change the order of your duties. There are jobs that are hard or take a long time to finish. These can make us feel overwhelmed and cause us to put them off. When I ask you if you can work for 5 hours straight, I think you'll say no. Was it possible for you to work for an hour straight? Yes, you can probably do that, and you can do it for 5 minutes. Everyone can work for 5 minutes straight. If we apply this reasoning to long or hard tasks, that is, by breaking them down into smaller parts and seeing them as single, short, doable tasks, this should help us face our responsibilities and stop putting them off. Everyone who puts things off knows that the hardest part is always getting started. You get through the hardest part once you start. Force yourself to start. Don't think about how long your job will take or how hard it is. Just start with the first step, which is the hardest, but also the most important. It will give you the drive to move on to the next step. Another good thing about putting things off is that once you start, you don't want to stop, because you know how hard it will be to start over. The 5-4-3-2-1 rule helps me take the first step in my life. It includes counting from 5 down to 0, and when you hit 0, start the job. The goal is to clear your mind and not think about anything. Just count to 5 and start without thinking too much. This trick helps me a lot in life whenever I want to do something that bothers me. That's what I do every time I count down from 5. The Pomodoro technique. The technique is a trick to divide your work time into more manageable portions, making it simpler to face your tasks. It's hard to start working if you think you have 5 hours ahead, for example. But if you divide this time using the Pomodoro technique, you'll be able to handle your work more easily. The technique involves working for 25 minutes straight, and then taking a 5-minute break. That would be 1 Pomodoro. After 4 Pomodoros, take a 20-minute break and repeat the process. Everyone is capable of working for 25 minutes straight, and by doing 4 Pomodoros, we work for 1 hour and 40 minutes, 100% focused, and then rest for 20 minutes. Facing 1 hour and 40 minutes of continuous work is tough. We can get distracted if we're not 100% focused, and perhaps we might not even start, because we'd end up procrastinating. But with this trick, You can tackle the work in 25-minute parts that everyone can do with 100% productivity. Eliminate distractions. Our brain always seeks the easiest path. If you have your cell phone near your workspace, a video game, or anything that can distract you, remove all these distractions from your workspace. Design an environment that makes procrastination difficult, where the only thing you can do is finish your task. Start by identifying what prevents you from doing the work and eliminate these distractions from your workspace to prevent procrastination from being easy. Did you like these tips to avoid procrastination? Do you apply any other tricks? I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Remember that we need discipline to effectively apply all the tricks I mentioned earlier. Without discipline and the will to change, we won't achieve anything. The Stoics viewed solitude as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth. Today, we will explore 10 benefits of solitude from a Stoic perspective and how you can apply them in your modern life. 1. The appreciation of solitude. In Stoicism, we find a profound appreciation for solitude. Contrary to what modern society often perceives, the Stoics didn't view solitude as a source of sadness. On the contrary, they considered it a valuable space for introspection, self-awareness, and moral growth. In a noisy world filled with distractions, the Stoics saw solitude as a wise teacher, offering moments of peace and isolation in which we can confront our true feelings, desires, and values without the masks we wear in society. The Stoics embraced self-sufficiency, or inner independence, and emotional control. In solitude, they saw it as a way to develop this self-sufficiency because when alone, we didn't depend on the opinions or expectations of others to find peace and happiness for ourselves. Solitude allowed us to develop an internal strength that was not shaken by external fluctuations. 2. Profound self-knowledge. An important theme of Stoic philosophy is profound self-knowledge. Solitude provides a safe space for us to look inward and explore the hidden corners of our minds and hearts that we rarely consider. Imagine solitude as a mirror that reflects the true self silently, allowing us to face the truth within us and discover what truly motivates us. We observe our emotional reactions, fears, aspirations, and doubts. Solitude allows us to see ourselves without external judgments, without masks or pretensions. Self-awareness, just like self-sufficiency, the Stoics viewed deep self-knowledge as essential to achieving the inner independence that frees us from the need for external approval. By understanding who we really are, we can stop seeking validation from others and begin to find it within ourselves. This self-sufficiency brings us lasting peace, because we are not affected by the constantly changing opinions of the external world. 3. Profound self-knowledge. A powerful aspect of self-awareness is internal dialogue. Imagine yourself sitting alone, like an intellectual and compassionate friend, reflecting on your choices, desires, and mistakes. This sincere dialogue helps us better understand ourselves and allows us to make decisions more aligned with our true nature and values. Solitude allows us to see ourselves without external judgments, without masks or pretensions. Self-awareness, just like self-sufficiency, the Stoics viewed deep self-knowledge as essential to achieving the inner independence that frees us from the need for external approval. By understanding who we really are, we can stop seeking validation from others and begin to find it within ourselves. This self-sufficiency brings us lasting peace because we are not affected by the constantly changing opinions of the external world. 4. The development of autarky. Have you ever wondered how to achieve inner peace without depending on external circumstances? The answer may lie in Stoic solitude and independence. The power of self-sufficiency is a fundamental concept in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed in the importance of cultivating an inner strength that was not affected by the vicissitudes of the external world. Solitude plays a significant role in this process because it allows us to disconnect from distractions and the noise of the world to focus on ourselves and reduce external impact. Independence can be seen as armor that shields us from external influences. When we are constantly surrounded by others' opinions, expectations, and judgments, our inner peace becomes a constant struggle. Solitude allows us to step away from this external influence and start trusting our wisdom and discernment, the opportunity for self-mastery. The Stoics believe that one of the greatest achievements of self-sufficiency was self-control. When we are alone, we need to deal with our own emotional reactions and impulses. We learn to observe them without automatically yielding to them. This self-control allows us to make conscious and ethical decisions instead of reacting automatically to situations. Learning to live with less in a world obsessed with accumulation and consumption, self-sufficiency allows us to live with less. The Stoics valued simplicity and moderation. Solitude gives us the opportunity to appreciate the essentials and not depend on material possessions for our satisfaction. We learn to find wealth within ourselves instead of seeking it in the external world. 4. Facing emotions. Now we'll address a deeply interesting topic to us all, the management of emotions from a Stoic perspective. How can we deal wisely and calmly with our emotions? Solitude can be a valuable ally in this process of understanding emotions. Emotions are like waves in the ocean, sometimes gentle and other times stormy. The Stoics understood that emotions were part of the human experience, but also recognized the importance of not being enslaved by them. Solitude provides a safe space to explore our emotions without external judgments or pressures. Dissociative observation. Imagine solitude as a laboratory for observing your emotions. When alone, we can objectively see our emotions rather than be carried away by them. We can observe them like clouds moving across the sky. This distance allows us to react more intelligently rather than impulsively. Stoic technique. The Stoics developed powerful techniques to deal with emotions on their own. One of them is anticipation, in which we imagine difficult situations and practice our calm and rational responses. Another technique is meditation on death, which helps us put our concerns into perspective and live in the present moment with gratitude. The Stoics believed that we could transform our emotions into virtues. For example, fear could transform into courage, anger into self-discipline, and sadness into resilience. Solitude provides space to reflect on our emotions, understand their origins, and channel their energy into virtuous actions. Clarity and decision-making. Now let's discuss a highly relevant topic, clarity and decision-making from a Stoic perspective. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the decisions you need to make? Can solitude be a reliable guide in this process? The decisive battle at life's crossroads. Decisions surround us like stars in the night sky. Often, confusion caused by external opinions can make it difficult to make the right decision. Solitude offers a space of silence and reflection to consider our options calmly and clearly. The refuge of solitude. Imagine solitude as a refuge amidst a storm. In difficult times, we can step away from external voices and expectations to find inner comfort. Solitude offers a safe space for managing our emotions, reflecting on the situation, and finding the strength to face challenges with courage. Stoic view of adversity. The Stoics saw adversity as an opportunity to strengthen the soul. In solitude, we can adopt a historical perspective and ask ourselves, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow despite this challenge? Solitude allows us to transform adversity into an opportunity to cultivate virtues such as patience, self-discipline, and resilience. Mental training and solitude. Just as an athlete trained to gain physical strength, in solitude, we can train our minds to face challenges calmly, imagining possible obstacles and how we would respond with resilience and independence. This spiritual practice allows us to proactively face challenges. Appreciation of simple things. We will now delve into a topic that connects us to joy and contentment, the appreciation of simple things. Have you ever felt that constantly seeking more hinders your happiness? Solitude can help you find happiness in simplicity. Desire for simplicity. In a society dominated by consumerism and the constant pursuit of novelties, the Stoics remind us of the beauty of simplicity. Solitude offers us space to detach from the noise and observe the joys that we often overlook. It invites us to enjoy everyday moments and find satisfaction in what we already have. Relationship between satisfaction and solitude. The Stoics consider joy as an essential virtue to find inner peace. Solitude helps us cultivate this virtue by allowing us to explore our relationship with the constant desire for more. In solitude, we question if our desires are genuine or if we are simply trapped in the relentless pursuit of more. Gratitude is a pillar of Stoic philosophy. In solitude, we can practice gratitude by reflecting on the blessings we've had in life, appreciating health, relationships, comfort, and the beauty around us. This helps us find happiness in the present instead of constantly seeking it in the future. Fostering internal dialogue. Now we address a topic that invites us to delve deeply into our minds: fostering internal dialogue. It involves honest conversations with oneself. Solitude can be a space for self-discovery through dialogue. Speaking to oneself is like having a wise and compassionate friend in your mind. In solitude, we engage in conversations with ourselves, discovering our thoughts, desires, and values. Solitude offers a safe space where we can speak without judgment, reflecting on our lives. Tranquil space for deep contemplation. Imagine solitude as a reflective studio where you discover the deepest questions of your existence. When alone, we can take time to reflect on our decisions, goals, and direction. Internal dialogue allows us to ask questions, challenge our beliefs, and explore new perspectives. The power of deep questions. The Stoics believed in the power of reflective questions for self-discovery. In solitude, we can ask ourselves questions that awaken our inner wisdom. Questions such as, what is truly important to me? What qualities do I wish to cultivate? How can I live in harmony with nature? These questions guide us into a deep dialogue with ourselves, turning internal dialogue into action. Internal dialogue isn't just about thought, but also action. In solitude, we can plan how to apply our reflections to our daily lives. Internal dialogue helps us put wisdom into action, setting goals and making decisions aligned with our deepest values. Connection with nature and the universe. Now we address a topic that connects us to the vastness of the universe, the connection with nature and the universe from a Stoic perspective. Have you ever marveled at the immensity of the world around you? Solitude can be your guide to discovering this profound connection. The universe as the master. The Stoics viewed the universe as a great teacher that contained lessons about the nature of life and virtue. In solitude, we can look at the stars in the sky and feel that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This connection with the universe invites us to reflect on our existence and our role in the cosmic order. Reflection in nature. Imagine solitude as a bridge between your mind and nature. When alone, we can wander through the forest, contemplate the sea, or simply enjoy the sunset. Solitude offers us the opportunity to enjoy the natural beauty and reflect on how nature reflects Stoic virtues like harmony and resilience. The Stoics believed in the relative insignificance of human affairs in relation to the cosmic order. In solitude, we can reflect on how our individual interests and desires fade in the vast universe. This perspective helps us give less importance to trivialities and focus on what truly matters. Cultivating virtue and wisdom, finding harmony with nature, was essential for the Stoics to find inner peace. In solitude, we can discover how our actions and decisions fit into the cosmic order. We reflect on how our choices affect others and the environment around us. Cultivating virtue and inner tranquility. Now we arrive at a topic that encapsulates the core of Stoicism, the cultivation of virtue and inner peace. Have you ever desired to live wisely and peacefully amidst trials? Solitude can be your guide on this noble path. Virtue is the ultimate goal for the Stoics. Virtue was the aspiration. Imagine virtue as a guiding beacon for your actions and decisions in life. In solitude, you can reflect on how to live virtuously in different circumstances, finding inner peace. Inner tranquility is one of the most precious pillars of Stoicism. Amidst chaos, solitude helps you find a peaceful haven. You can meditate on maintaining serenity in difficult situations and utilize solitude as an oasis to emotionally recharge. The Stoics understood that self-discipline was essential to cultivate virtue and equanimity. Solitude provides the space for you to practice self-discipline in small ways, like resisting distractions and focusing on what truly matters. This practice strengthens you to face the temptations and challenges of daily life. Solitude is fertile ground for reflection and self-transcendence. You can examine your past actions, identify areas where you can grow, and set goals to become a more ethical and balanced person. Solitude offers the space to nurture a continuous commitment to your personal growth. As we navigate modern life, we can apply these Stoic teachings, finding moments of solitude to cultivate self-sufficiency, face our emotions serenely, make informed decisions, and above all, seek virtue and inner tranquility. Remember that you have the power to create moments of solitude in your life, whether through meditation, contemplation in nature, reflective reading, or self-dialogue. By doing so, you follow in the footsteps of the ancient Stoics and tread a path of self-discovery and spiritual growth. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Additionally, please leave your comments and share your experiences. See you soon.